We have another game that we're looking at here around the country, and this is, I think, one of the last few out of conference until we get to later in the season for some of these SEC teams, and it's South Alabama playing LSU. LSU right now is what, sitting at, is it 2-1 or 3-1?
Yep.
They have the number 15, 3-1. They have the number 15 next to their name, and they're still in that playoff discussion. This win could be really big to get to 4-1 if it plays out that way. But what do you think are some of the keys to this game for LSU?
Yeah, right now you really can't look past this game, right? You have the Sun Belt team in South Alabama. You can't look past it. LSU right now is 21.5-point favorites, but the South Alabama team is scoring a lot right now.
Mm-hmm.
They started off the year 0-2, tough loss at Ohio. We saw them play Kentucky last week. They gave up 52 at home to North Texas, but they had 58 points in those two losses alone. So the defense was really the struggle here. The former head coach there at South Alabama, defensive mind Kane Womack, now the co-DC at Alabama. So they're still trying to find their identity defensively. But then they went to Northwestern State, scored 87, and went up to Boone and absolutely crushed App State 48-14 when they were 7.5 dogs. This team is firing. They have a really solid quarterback in Gio Lopez that is a full dual threat. 843 in the air so far, 171 on the ground. Running backs are solid. The offense for the South Alabama team is really good, and we've seen this LSU team be able to get scored on. So LSU in this game needs to come out strong early instead of taking a little time to warm up like they have in the past couple weeks.
Yeah, and for LSU, they're going to have to carry that second half offensive performance and defensive performance into the first half of this game. You talked about Gio Lopez and what he's been able to do. I think he's got 9 touchdowns in the year, 86 QBR on the season. And so we're going to need to see that LSU defense, who was able to, shut out UCLA in the second half, continue that in the first half. And this is one of the more high-powered offenses. On the offensive side, I mean, Garrett Nussmeier was the SEC Offensive Player of the Week. He's receiving a ton of accolades, and outside of that small blimp on the radar with the 2 turnover game or 1 or 2 turnover game against South Carolina, he's looked really impressive. We can say what we want about the stats and how they were ultimately accumulated in certain games, but overall, he's top 2 in the SEC when it comes to yards and touchdowns. On the rushing game, it appears to be this committee system, and so for them, they're going to have to come out strong offensively. And hopefully find themselves not in an offensive shootout. If you let South Alabama hang around this game, with Gio Lopez, with Fluff Bothwell on their team, then you're in a position where you're having to kind of play in this pressure game, and all the pressure's on you. You're the Power 4 team. You're the ranked team. You're the one playing at home, and all eyes are going to be looking at LSU once again in this game. That is potentially a 7-point game going into the fourth quarter, similar to the UCLA game. So,
yeah, and if it gets to that point, I think LSU will have it. You don't want to get there though. Like LSU out talents this team, but they do have Fluff Bothwell in the backfield, who is leading all freshman running backs right now in rushing yards. They have the LSU Ole Miss transfer in Control Bullock, so they're able to run the ball. They're able to throw the ball. Quarterback's able to scramble. They're doing it all apart. Defensively for South Alabama, we mentioned they've made they've had a lot of mistakes. They're getting picked apart across the middle of the field, out of the slot quite often. It's something that Nussmeier is really good at, hitting those guys in stride and letting them make plays. So I think LSU is going to be able to score pretty consistently against this team. But they've shown some weakness in coverage, shown some weakness in run stopping, and that's only going to be worse going forward with Harold Perkins Jr. out for the year. They're trying to shift some linebackers around. I could see them bringing a little bit less pressure this week, keeping some guys in coverage, keeping some things in front of them, as opposed to bringing some unique blitzes as they figure out how they want to, form this team from the linebacker position.
Yeah, and you said it lightly. I mean, LSU's defense right now is giving up, I think, 430 yards a game. We've seen some high yardage performances even from Nicholls State. We saw a good amount against USC. It looked improved, but still a high amount. And of course, USC was able to take advantage of this defense on the ground. And so, with the leading rusher from the freshman perspective coming in with Fluff Bothwell, could point to some challenges. Do we expect a big game here from Kyron Lacey? He's one of the leading SEC receivers. I think he has, I want to say, 3 or 4 touchdowns in the season right now.
Yeah, he's really good at separation early. I think that is going to be a huge piece for this LSU team is getting separation quick off the line, letting these guys make plays in space. Aaron Anderson, another one. I could see those two guys both having pretty big games here.
Yeah, and this could be the game of the day. There's a lot of like high profile games. We have one more game to cover, and everybody's going to know what it is if you're listening to the full length episode. If you're listening to the snippet here, go to our page. But this could be one of the more fun, interesting, unexpected games, right? Kind of a March Madness, like small school versus big school game, and so we're excited for it. I'm thinking it could be an offensive shootout. I'm going to say 35-21 LSU down in the swamp. What are you thinking?
It's a little closer than I got it. 21.5-point dogs here. I got 17-37 LSU winning at home, but ultimately giving up another 17 points like they did with UCLA. In an offensive battle at the beginning, I think it's the same. I think we'll see the same thing. LSU turn it on late and start to realize where they're at and who they need to be.
Definitely.